Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to walk through a really fascinating case study. We'll be looking at a unique approach to markets called the market DNA method.
All right, let's get right into it. We're focusing specifically on the Dow Jones 30 index, and we're going to document a particular market cycle, which was identified as DJ30_cycle 3. Let's see how this thing unfolds, one step at a time. So the market DNA method is all about using a structured, phase-based approach. This is really the core idea here, It's about mapping out the market's potential path in advance. This lets us create a clear record of the cycle as it actually happens. So let's start at the very beginning with phase 1, the plan. First up, phase 1, the strategic plan. And here's the most important part. This entire strategy is laid out before any action happens in the market. For this case study, the whole plan was locked in on March 30th, 2026.
Okay, so here's what the initial setup looked like on the chart. As you can see, the method defines the entire playing field with these specific geometric structures. You'll notice the different triangles and that big trapezoid. These aren't just random shapes, they are the fundamental components of the strategic plan.
Now, the plan actually defines two potential places to enter the market. The primary entry is set right here at level M. But, and this is a key part of the risk management, there's also a secondary entry defined at PC. This gives us a balanced mean entry price of $44,316. To make sure the documentation is consistent, the entire framework is based on a hypothetical capital of $100,000. And a really critical rule is the maximum allowed drawdown. In this case, it's strictly capped at 5%, which comes out to $5,000. And this is where you really start to see the level of detail in this method. There are several core parameters that are defined right from the very start. We're talking about things like a 42-day time duration for the trapezoid, a specific risk coefficient, and even a set contract size. These are literally the building blocks of the entire plan. Okay, this next point is mandatory for us to include, and it comes directly from the source documentation. It tells us exactly how the trade sizes are determined. It says both trade sizes are calculated using the hypothetical capital, the investor's maximum allowed drawdown, the third triangle domain percentage, the risk coefficient, and the contract size. So as you can see, it's a direct calculation based on all those parameters we just saw. So after running all those numbers through that very specific formula, the size for each of the two potential trades comes out to exactly 0.09. But the plan doesn't just stop with the entry, it also pre-calculates three potential exit targets. Target 1 is the mirror line. Target 2, right there at apex N, is called the safe exit. And finally, target 3 at the very top of the trapezoid is the full exit. And for this plan, that full exit carried a potential return of 4.41%. So, with the complete plan laid out, we're now going to jump forward in time. We're going straight to the next big documented event. And what's so interesting here is that we skip right over to the completion of phase 3, which is known as the N-level event. And here we see the plan playing out. This is the chart from March 31st, and look at that. The market price has hit one of those predefined targets. It reached the safe exit level right at apex N of triangle 3. So, just to recap that journey, the position was first opened at the primary entry point, the M level. Then the price moved all the way up to hit that safe exit target at the N level, and that marks the successful completion of phase 3. Now, this is a really key detail in the documentation. The market actually followed what the method refers to as an alternative path. The main takeaway is that phase 3 was completed before phase 2 was even triggered. This is a perfect illustration of that 1, then 3, then 2, then 4 sequence in action. So that brings us right up to speed as of March 31st, 2026. Let's take a quick look at the current status of this cycle and, of course, cover some very important disclaimers. And so the documentation leaves us hanging with this question. Will the market now circle back to complete phase 2? The whole purpose of this case study is to just keep watching and documenting what the market does next. And finally, it's absolutely essential that we go through these disclaimers. Please remember, this is not financial advice. This entire case study and its analysis are only for documentation and public verification purposes. Thank you so much for joining us on this visual documentation of the market DNA method. If you'd like to learn more about the source material, you can visit the website you see right here.